to write, to formulate their thoughts, to put them down, to share them, so that other people could read, and by reading, it enabled them to learn. In so many ways, AI is a tool to help people think, to create, to reason, to share, to learn, much like the printing press. But the comparison does not end there, because the printing press was not just about inventing something new. There's a second aspect that was important as well. It was about the diffusion of technology, meaning the need to get it into people's hands, to put it to work. And it's fascinating to look at what happened in the 50 years in Europe in the second half of the 1400s. The printing press was built with movable type by one person, Johannes Gutenberg, in Mainz, what is now Germany. And over the course of 5 decades, it spread from city to city, from country to country. But what is also interesting is it wasn't just an invention that was created. It was an entirely new economy. If the people who were involved in the technology of the printing press had had something like Mobile World Congress, they would have come together, perhaps in Mainz, perhaps in Barcelona, and they would have done then what we do today. They would have looked at this economy and they would have said, there's a tech stack, just like technology people do today. And when they looked at the tech stack, they would see that it started with the printing press, but fundamentally, it required so many more parts of the economy to be built and come together. There needed to be people who produced paper and ink. There were people who were book binders, book publishers, book sellers. They all made it possible for writers and readers to flourish. And flourish they did. It took this entire economy to make the modern world. In fact, what is most interesting is when they all came together and succeeded together, books exploded. If you looked at the world in 1460, in the prior 1,000 years, only 1,000 literary works were produced. 1,000 literary works in 8,000 literary works in 1,000 years. But soon, 8,000 literary works were being produced every 5 years. It wasn't just that new works were being produced. The printing press made it possible for them to be provided in great number. By the end of the century, 20 million copies of books had been created and distributed and even read. What that made possible is almost everything we know about European history that followed. It led to the Renaissance and then the Reformation, to the scientific revolution, to the Enlightenment, to the spread of democracy itself. That is what a great technology can do when people come together and build a successful sector of the new economy and use that technology to do good for others. I think it should inspire us. So as we come together here in 2024, we too are creating a new sector of the economy. We're creating the new AI economy. And one of the first things we need to do to think about ourselves, to share with others, is the tech stack that we are building. It is a tech stack that starts with two things the world often takes for granted: electricity and connectivity. But unless those two come together, nothing else is possible. But then we need the AI chips, we need the AI infrastructure. You see all of the parts of the AI economy that need to come together. The creation of foundation models, the tooling that makes it possible for people to use those models and create applications, the app stores that are needed to distribute AI-powered applications to consumers, and ultimately the people we all serve, like readers and writers. There are now users and developers that are bringing this technology to people around the world. The truth is, we all need to succeed together. And certainly at Microsoft, we see our role in our particular niche and niches as one that is inherently and indispensably connected with everyone else. More than anything else, we're spending more money, literally, than anyone else on the creation of the next generation of digital infrastructure, of AI data center infrastructure that literally is now being built around the world, as you see on this next slide. It's an amazing thing to visit a data center today because it's extraordinary. It has now oftentimes dozens of buildings. We don't build data centers, we build data center campuses. And those buildings have millions of servers inside them. Fundamentally, this is where we need to spend money to make it possible for companies to train AI models, to deploy those models and run AI-enabled applications to serve people's needs around the world. But increasingly, we find people ask, how are we going to run this infrastructure? In many ways, we're doing what no one ever imagined doing in something like the age of electricity. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, but no one ever thought that they could take on the role of diffusing electricity quickly enough by building power plants around the world. As a result, electricity diffused slowly, so slowly, in fact, that today, 142 years after the first building in New York City was illuminated by electrical power, there are still 700 million people in the world that woke up this morning with no access to electricity at all. Our goal is to build a future that puts technology in people's hands quickly and equitably so the entire world can prosper and benefit from what AI has to offer. But to do that, we're going to need to be principled as a company, and that's what I want to share this afternoon. Today, we're announcing and launching what we're calling Microsoft's AI Access Principles. These are the principles that we've been assembling as the technology has been moving forward. These are the principles that define how we at Microsoft will govern the technology we are creating. It starts with a set of goals, 5 tenets or goals that really are guiding how we think. The first is the role and even the responsibility that we have to enable AI innovation and foster competition so that it serves everyone and not just a small or single company. It means that our obligations start with the law itself. We live in a world where new technology, and especially AI laws, are being created quickly, and we need to respect and abide by them. But that is the floor. That is where our obligations begin. We have much that we need to build on top of that. Fundamentally for us, it's all about partnerships. We're not vertically integrated. We don't have an app store for consumers. We rely on others for chips. We partner with others to create the world's greatest foundation AI models. If ever there were a time where there was a need for partnership to advance a new technology, it is here, and it is now. But unlike many prior eras, especially of digital technology, I think partnership in this new AI era, partnership for this new AI economy, requires that one think broadly. We need to partner not just with other companies like those in the room, but with entire communities and countries as well. We need to partner with each of our customers who are creating AI-enabled applications, and we need to do so by being proactive, by being responsible, by not waiting for problems to grow, but instead moving quickly to solve them. These are the goals that guide us. We've thought about these goals, and we're sharing today 11 principles. These principles really fall into 3 categories. They're about access, they're about fairness, and they're about our broader societal responsibilities. But first and foremost, perhaps, they are about access, about providing broad access to other companies, communities, and customers. Broad access so first, others can train their models and deploy them on the AI data center infrastructure we're creating. This is illustrated by the announcement we made just 2 hours ago. What I think really stands for a new day and a new era for Microsoft's support for the development of technology in Europe. It's the multi-year partnership we just announced with Mistral AI, the leading AI company in France. And under this partnership, Mistral AI will now be able to train and deploy its leading models in our data center. But it's not just training and deploying models. It's about helping people bring their models to customers, to software developers so they can use them, to customers so they can buy them. And through our Models as a Service initiative at Microsoft, Mistral AI, effective today, has its models available to reach the world through all of the data centers that we're operating. We're focused not just on proprietary software, not just on our partnership with OpenAI, as critical as it is, but with a wide number of companies. And in fact, as of today, we have almost 1,600 models running in our data centers, 1,500 of which are open source models. It shows how we as a company need to focus on proprietary and open source models, companies large and small. That is what it means to provide access to the world for the data centers that we're building to construct. But it's not access alone that matters. It's also incredibly important, we appreciate, to treat people fairly. Because when you're running the critical data centers on which people rely, they need to have confidence in how we will interact with them. We've given a lot of thought to what we think matters to different groups of people. We think that a commitment to fairness starts by publishing the API, the Application Programming Interface, so anyone who wants to create a model or create an application that runs on a model has access to the public versions of the APIs, the same APIs that we use ourselves. That's a third principle. It's an important step in ensuring that everyone is treated fairly. But we also recognize the critical role that network operators play, the investments that network operators are making in building out the infrastructure for the future. And we recognize through the GSM Association's Open Gateway initiative the big opportunity ahead. The opportunity to take the data that network operators have, as you know, data about where people are, data about who people are because they're authenticated through their accounts, data that operators have about the quality of service that an individual has at a particular moment in time, and to take this data and give network operators the ability to connect directly with the people who are creating AI-enabled applications. They can build better applications for people. They can build applications that protect people, including from the risk of fraud, and they can do it in a way that will open up a new source of revenue that will help network operators grow, and in so doing, help them modernize the network and the connectivity on which we all rely. But it's not even those two things alone. We then need to think about the commitments that we need to make as a company to ensure that the people creating AI-enabled applications can reach consumers broadly. That's why we have decided not to follow in the footsteps, in this case, of great companies like Apple and Google, but companies that have built app stores that have become gateways through which all commerce and apps must flow. We've created an app store, we call it the Azure Marketplace, but we give applications developers a choice. They can use it or not. They can decide how they want to get their technology into the hands of customers. And as we give them that kind of choice, we sign up, I think critically, for the need to show developers the respect they deserve. If they are training a model on our infrastructure, if they are deploying it on our infrastructure, We recognize that their data is their data. We will not access it and use it to compete with the companies that are relying on our infrastructure. And finally, we are committed to giving people the choice even to leave. If they want to take their model, or if they want to take their data and move it onto another cloud, it's our responsibility to enable them easily to do so. When you put those 5 commitments together, we think this is an important step to making it clear how people could rely on Microsoft and how we want to support them. Then there's the final thing that we're committed to doing. It is to addressing our broad societal responsibilities. More than ever, people and governments around the world have a high expectation for us. Indeed, a high expectation for all of us. And that means that we need to continue to take important strides forward. First, to protect the physical and cybersecurity of these data centers around the world and all the data and technology inside, even against a more hostile set of ransomware, criminal enterprises, and even nation-state adversaries. We need to continue to invest in a high standard for responsible AI, a safety architecture that protects people's safety and security, the privacy of their information. And we are doing this in ways that not only safeguard and put guardrails around our own services, like our co-pilots, but we're doing it in ways where we make this safety architecture available as a service for open source developers so they can use it if they wish, rather than have to spend their time and money creating it themselves. We recognize that ultimately the success of this new economy requires not only companies like all of ours who are represented in this room, more than we've seen in a long time. We need to get out and skill people around the world so that they have the capability to use the power of AI to advance their careers. And finally, we need to do all of this in a way that is sensitive to the environment, that conserves the use of water, that recycles it, or oftentimes runs without any water at all. We need to do it in a way that brings online renewable and carbon-free energy, more energy even than we may consume in our data centers. We need to do it in ways that put the power of AI to work to protect the environment. Ultimately, when you put these 11 principles together, we think that they're an important step forward in making clear what we feel we need to do to earn and sustain the trust of people, of customers, of companies, of countries around the world. And we recognize that the first step is almost never the last step, but the best way to get going is to get started. And that's what we're doing. As much as anything else, perhaps more than anything else, we think this is a time for us to look at each other and appreciate the role that we each are playing. We all need to work together. That is what will define our success. And we need to work together because at the end of the day, we all need to succeed the only way we can, by succeeding together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Succeed together by working together. Such a lot there to take on board and to think about. The possibilities, some of the pitfalls, and what Microsoft wants to do in the future. Great to have them here to outline their AI strategy, a new strategy for a new era. Now, of course, this stage, this main stage here at MWC 24 is where you get the new ideas, you get the people who are shaping the future coming forward and giving those ideas to everybody else and explaining what it is that they want to do and bringing everything together. So if you can't get here into the main stage and you want to see the keynotes, watch Mobile World Live. We've got all of them for you live. We stream all our keynotes for you wherever you are. Tomorrow, actually, game changers. Make sure you put that in your diary. The flying car, I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to know more about that. Absolutely. So let's move on to our next keynote now. We've heard from one tech juggernaut. Let's hear from another one. One that has probably been around for, dare I say, most of the length of our careers, shaping our world and looking to shape the world in the future. So to give us an insight into what the future could be and what it could bring, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Chairman and CEO of Dell Technologies, Michael Dell.
Thank you very much. Good evening. It is my pleasure to be with all of you tonight, and I'm honored to take the opportunity to share some thoughts with you today. It's great to be back in Barcelona. Look, I love the food, I love the people, I love the culture. It's a city that's alive with energy. It's electric. And, it's really the perfect city to host Mobile World Congress because our collective future has never been brighter. And our opportunity has never been bigger. In a couple of months, we as Dell Technologies are going to celebrate our 40th birthday. And how about that? Looking back, it's been a lot of fun. From the birth of the personal computer to the data center to the internet revolution to virtualization to the cloud. We have helped organizations and industries and the world transform. And as I look ahead, honestly, I believe we're just getting started. We all know that the amount of data in the world is exploding, and the value of that data is increasing. And when you activate that data with a technology like AI, big things happen. There we go, big things are happening. Let's see, I think we have a little bit of a, here we go. Okay, so why are we here? Telecommunication companies need to be a winner in this next wave of innovation. And look, you all know it. In fact, according to IDC, the telecom industry has invested more in generative AI than any sector in the economy. And the opportunity is bigger and moving faster than anything that we've seen before. Now, it took us a long time to get 5 billion people on the internet. But comparatively, getting 5 billion people on AI is happening almost instantly. And there's going to be a significant proliferation of open and closed source large language models, multimodal models, and they'll be distributed globally. There'll be models in the public domain. There'll be models for private data, closed and open source models, nano models, models on your phone, models on your PC. Eventually, it's going to be everywhere like the internet is today. And the real opportunity is really for all of us to reimagine our organizations, given the superpower that AI is unleashing. And there's never really been a better time to become smarter or more productive. But for network operators, it's even more profound because it's not just about productivity. It's really, for operators, about growth. Growing the value that you can bring to your customers, growing those relationships, and changing the way they do business. And in the process, repositioning the industry for the next wave of innovation and the next. And that's the opportunity that we see for all of you. And that's why we are making significant investments to support all of you in that effort. Now, you all have enormous competitive advantages. Data has gravity. And look, the vast majority of the world's data is created at the edge, in the real world. And increasingly, that data is being stored and processed as close to the point of creation as possible. Clouds are moving to the edge. Applications are moving to the edge. And AI will also be at the edge. You want to bring AI to your data, not bring data to your AI. And for most of your customers, you are the edge. In fact, you're already there. It's your backyard. 10 million points of presence. And you're all in on building the networks, and the cloud transformation within the network is really going to be essential to capitalize on this AI opportunity. So let's move away from the rigid architectures where hardware and software were so tightly tied that they couldn't be improved on an independent basis. And let's break the paradigm of massive network equipment rip and replace cycles with every new G generation, and instead move to a network that is software upgradable and is a platform for new service innovation. The need for intelligent, lightning-fast networks and true global coverage has never been greater. Now, this is the moment for cloud transformation. And we, Dell Technologies, are right there with you. We understand that transformation is hard, and it feels risky and even frightening. But you know, the bigger risk, and what's even more frightening, is what happens if you don't transform. And we have been to this movie before. We've seen how it ends. It happened in the corporate data center. You know, the workloads ran on dedicated hardware, the developers developed, the operators operated, security was bolted on, and overall, the utilization of that infrastructure was low, and the total cost to run it was high. Then along came virtualization, and then cloud, and now multi-cloud. And those technologies decoupled the infrastructure from the application. And the resulting transformation completely reset our expectations for cost and performance. And through automation and intelligence, you can optimize network resources, launch new services quickly, and respond better to your customer needs. Now, together, we can build and deploy an open infrastructure platform that delivers the cost and performance that you'd expect from cloud native. So about 4 years ago, we made the strategic decision to focus on telecoms. We added more than 1,000 team members just for this dedicated unit, 85% of them from the industry, and we listened. We put on our big ears and we learned based on the feedback we heard from all of you. We created network-specific compute platforms and the software to automate the highly distributed infrastructure of an open network. And we engineered systems that combine our compute platforms and automation software with cloud software from strategic partners like Red Hat and Wind River. And we did all of this because what we're hearing from all of you is that it's, you know, open ecosystems are great, but it's too hard to buy and deploy and operate a set of open solutions from a variety of partners in an ecosystem. And so we at Dell are ready to be your partner on this journey, and we're looking forward to that conversation. And we have some of our own advantages as well. We have an enormously powerful and reliable global supply chain. We have unmatched global service and support. And we bring our own innovation and leading solutions along with the aligned innovation from an ecosystem of partners. And for 40 years, we have driven industry modernization, starting with shifts to open architectures. And at Dell, we have worked to transform the world's largest enterprises across many industries. And now these organizations are taking advantage of multi-cloud, and they're well-positioned to quickly adopt AI. CSPs have an enormous amount of historical data for their customers and inside their networks. And you all can leverage that data to train your own models and develop domain-specific generative AI models. You can redefine network economics, operations, customer support, and sales. And you can offer your customers services and architecture the kind that they need to support their businesses. Communication service providers are already benefiting from their initial steps in cloud transformation. And we are partnering with the entire telecom ecosystem, including heavyweights like Amdocs, Ericsson, and Nokia, and we're seeing the beginning of the cloudification of every part of the telecommunications industry, from greenfield operators to brownfield operations, from tier 1 carriers to tier 2 and tier 3 carriers, from every corner of the globe. And the momentum behind this virtualization is really unmistakable. And we're very proud to be working with companies like Vodafone, Dish, and Globe, to name a few, who are advancing their deployments of open and virtualized networks. And together, we're harnessing the power of cloud architectures to increase operational agility, improve effectiveness, and ultimately decrease cost. Now, a few months ago, AT&T announced a bold plan in conjunction with a group of ecosystem partners led by Ericsson. And now, to share his thoughts on cloud transformation at one of the largest and oldest network operators in the world, it is my pleasure to welcome to the stage Chris Sambar, Head of Network from AT&T, to the stage. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for being here. We had some chance to spend a little time earlier today. I know last week was a bit of a challenging one for you, but we're thrilled that you're here.
I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you for the invitation. And to speak about last week briefly, we let some of our customers down Thursday of last week. I'm sure some in the audience and some listening out there on the web. So I want to deeply apologize to start with. We can do better than that. We will do better than that. But I'm really pleased to be here with you today. Thank you for the invitation. This is great.
Absolutely. And look, there's been a lot of talk in the industry about this cloud network transformation, and what does that mean inside a carrier the size of AT&T?
Sure. I think it's a really exciting time to be in the telecom space right now, and I know it is at AT&T. We have been on this virtualization journey for over 10 years. Back in 2013, we made the decision that we wanted to virtualize portions of our network, and we started in the core of the network, on our core backbone infrastructure. Instead of these big monolithic routers, I think you showed some pictures of them earlier, we wanted to open those up, virtualize them, separate hardware and software, and we did that, and now over 60% of our traffic is flowing across open interfaces, and now we're moving that out to the metros and to the edge of the network. And our belief is that we can turn the network into the killer app. I mean, if developers can build products and services directly onto our network, we think we can really open this ecosystem up with your help. And that was what that announcement was all about last year with Ericsson. How do we move in earnest as a brownfield operator and really show the world how to build a true O-RAN network?
So the network becomes a cloud. Right?
That's right.
And you can, customers can run applications on top of that cloud network. So, the announcement some time ago with Ericsson created quite a stir. And tell us a little bit more about, how you see Open RAN and, what does all this mean for your cloud transformation?
Sure. So our goal is to make our network more open, accessible, and programmable. We think that's the future. Obviously, there's some cost benefits to all of this as well, as you noted earlier, but we think the ability to make our network more dynamic and more nimble, quicker on its feet, we think that's a tremendous benefit. And one of the bold goals that we set out when we signed and announced this contract with Ericsson last year was that 70% of our wireless network traffic in just 3 short years would be flowing across open interfaces on the network. That's basebands, radios, et cetera. That's a pretty bold goal, and I don't think we've seen any operator move the volume of traffic that we're going to move that quickly. So we're really excited about that.
So 70% of your network traffic, Chris, that sounds like you're going to need a lot of servers.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to ask that question, Michael. Yeah, yeah, that's a lot. Yes, we're probably going to need a lot. I'll give you an example of scale. You know, we have over 100,000 radiating elements in our network. That's a lot, obviously. And then behind that, behind the scenes, as you back into the network, there's a whole bunch of network infrastructure there. Over time, we would like to migrate a significant portion of that to this open disaggregated future. So this is great for you, and I should finish this off with congratulations. I'm going to break some news that we have officially announced that you are our partner in our Cloud RAN transformation. So congratulations, Michael.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you for the partnership.
Absolutely.
We are thrilled to be working with AT&T on this. And, talk a little bit more about, how you see the ecosystem and, how we can help you be successful in, accelerating your transformation.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'll just say, we're thrilled to be working with you on this. And some of the, I'll say, philosophies around cloudification that you shared earlier, we've done a great job with open disaggregated networks and virtualizing our networks in different parts of the network. But this is going to be a bit of a new journey for us. True cloud principles, injecting them into a wireless network at scale for a brownfield operator. And you've done this across multiple industries over the years. You and Dell and others have been true visionaries. So we're really counting on you in partnership with Ericsson and others to help us walk down this path. We think there's going to be tremendous benefits, and we really appreciate everything that you've done so far, and we look forward to the partnership in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me.
Appreciate the partnership. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.
These are exciting times, and we are just getting started in all the work that we're talking about here, and we're actively involved in what I would characterize as the vast majority of the programs and pilots that are underway for open cloud-native telecom networks. And as companies realize the benefits of these deployments, it's safe to assume there's going to be more of them in the future, and we are ready to support that. So look, our customers are transforming. They're taking advantage of our ecosystem and our innovation. We've invested in CSP-specific technology to make your transformation easier and safer from an automation perspective and with automation software. We created engineered infrastructure to the AI-enabled PCs and platforms that will unleash the productivity of your workforce, all the way, every aspect of your infrastructure. We're also focused on energy and power consumption. We're building sustainable, energy-efficient products with advanced cooling and power management to lower your carbon footprint. And we're with you every step of the way in achieving your net zero goals. And look, I encourage all of you to stop by the Dell booth on the show floor and learn about how we're driving these innovations and how we can partner together. And how we're working across the ecosystem of partners and collaborators to deliver solutions that matter to you. And it'll give you a chance to experience firsthand how we can help accelerate your own transformation. When I started this, I mentioned how Barcelona is the perfect place for Mobile World Congress. It's a city that's rooted in history, yet it's constantly transforming and progressing with a passionate commitment to what's new and what's next. And at Dell Technologies, we are much of the same. We've used our decades of investment to build competitive advantages that aren't easy to replicate. And that positions us for the future, just like all of you. Together, we can be a major force in a highly distributed, connected, intelligent world. And what stands between here and there is transformation that will lower your cost of ownership and put your data to work to drive outcomes and success and results. And all of that will support helping you helping your customers transform. And that's what we've done at Dell Technologies for 40 years. That's why we're here today. We're investing in this industry to realize this opportunity, and we're excited to work with all of you, because what's next is now. Thank you all so much.
Michael, thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I do trust you have enjoyed your time with us this afternoon. I know there is still a lot going on the halls. If I could just remind you that the keynotes here on the MWC24 main stage start tomorrow morning, 9:30 for Society First, Digital DNA. That is going to be a really interesting keynote, so make sure you get here nice and early for that. But may I just take this opportunity to thank you for being here this evening. I do hope you've enjoyed the first day. What a busy day here at MWC24. Enjoy your evening, and we will see you again tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Thank you.